What's up, guys? We are back once again with a spreadsheet. I was about to say back once again with a Renegade Master, Deep 4 Damager, Power to the People, back once again. But that is a different story and a different song for another time, and a blast from my past as well. So, Ratlos, Ronda, Wukong, some all-stars here. But we are looking with our spreadsheet at the 11 7-day login champions that we have. This is part 1, so we're going to split it in 2 so that the videos aren't too long, and so as I can stretch out the content. Let's be real about it. So we have Skeletor here, and it's kind of, this is prompted by Skeletor, and he's getting a lot of flack. So what we want to do is make sure that he's justified in getting the flack. Is he really terrible compared to the rest of the login champions? When we look, Ronda, Wukong, UDK, Ninja, Ratlos, we're kind of, Artak, you kind of have to go, well, yeah, he is. But to be all scientific about it, we have to go through the stages and see what's what. So we're going to be looking at each of the dungeons: Fire Knight, Ice Golem, Dragon, Arena, Sand Devil, Shogun, Iron Twins, Waves, Amius, Clan Boss. They're going to get points for being unique as well. Can they do something that nobody else can? Everything's going to be ranked out of 5, and I'm going to give my total score. And then we're going to see how they're rated on HH as well, because I'm not daft enough to think that I have better knowledge than the HH team in their entirety, which has, I think he mentioned, like 18 or 19 people drawn full-time payment, full-time salary at the last time I heard him mention it. So we'll look at my totals and ratings and compare them to HH and just rank them basically top to bottom. Full disclosure, I have not and do not have every single one of these, so we won't be doing playtesting. We'll be looking at the kits and going through them, okay? So, with that in mind, let's start off with the man himself, Skeletor. Okay, so what does he bring? Okay, so he brings Petrification, which is unique enough to him. And there's only one other champion, I believe, in the game that does it at the moment, and that's Matrala. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, as always. She's the only one that comes to mind. Brings decreased attack, decreased speed on a single target. So that's not great. Does, however, bring AoE increased accuracy and a debuff steal, which steals block debuffs, and a buff which steals block debuffs and one random buff on an AoE after placing increased accuracy on all allies. Then also decreases turn meter by 15%, or if from the Tellurian League, decreases that enemy's turn meter by 30% instead. So this is a good move. A strip, and I think actually it gets a bit more flack than it should, but I think that's because we think of the likes of our Mans, who's incredibly busted broken. So he's going to increase the accuracy, then perform the steal, the debuff removal, or the block debuff removal, and the one random buff removal, and decrease turn meter. I can't think of anybody else that has that in conjunction. I don't really want to get into fixing these champions or anything like that, but if that turn meter decrease was higher across the board, I think people would be raving about this. Raving about Skeletor overall. The passive decreased resistance probably needs to be a higher chance. And it is higher chance against champs from the Tellurian League, and his passive accuracy increase. But the A1 and A2 are single target, single hits. So increased duration of a random debuff, and then AO increase accuracy, decrease turn meter, block debuffs. Everything is too little, I think. So he does have a decent bit of stuff in the kit. Everything is too little for my liking. Okay, so looking at this, and it's going to kill some people that I'm not doing this in order of the names I have written down, but hey, such is the chaotic world in which we live. So for Fire Knight, he's nothing going on there. Realistically, decrease attack, decrease speed are useful in there. I could generously give him a 2 out of 5. For that, the decreased turn meter isn't anywhere near enough to be useful. There are epics that are way more useful and bring everything that he has that would be useful. Fane, I think, provides the same level of debuffing and turn meter control as does maybe Siege Hulk, and you don't see people using them for Fire Knight. Ice Golem, decrease attack and decrease speed, so that's a better proposition. Increase accuracy and a bit of turn meter control is very good. Increasing the debuff duration, so you want to increase maybe poisons on normal and HP burn on hard. So that is quite good. Increasing the duration of your decreased attack as well, and your decreased speed as well, is very good. And maybe decreasing his resistance when you get attacked, so other people can place their debuffs as well, but it's not something you're going to rely on. So I'd give him, I actually would give him maybe 3.5 on Ice Golem. No, we are not rounding up numbers, guys, so let's make sure we have these formatted correctly. There we are. Numbers, 2 places. Okay. I only needed to go 1 place, but hey ho. Dragon, decrease attack, grand. Decrease speed, no good. Increase debuff duration, good. Decrease resistance and the accuracy buff, not really going to provide a whole heap. And he's not going to increase survivability for anybody. And he's not going to be able to turn meter control. So maybe a 2.5 here. Arena. I actually think Arena might be his best area. I think he's an Arena champ just for the buff strip and turn meter control that he gets. I think that is his best application. But again, I don't think I can go above a 3.5 because he does lots of good stuff, but he does too little of it. So decreased turn meter, good. Block buffs, block debuffs strip, and block and a random debuff or random buff strip, good. But it's too little, too late. So like it's too. Each of it's too little. It should be a complete buff strip or a bigger decrease turn meter effect, definitely there. With the resistance thing and the increased accuracy, that does come in very helpful as well. So 3.5 I think is very, very fair for Arena. I'm going to be trying, I'm probably being as generous as possible in all cases here, guys. So Sand Devil, he applies debuffs, but not enough to be worth anything. The turn meter control isn't worth anything. The increased accuracy is maybe worth something. But no, I think, yeah, 1.5 for Sand Devil. Shogun, more debuffs is more stuff. He's going, this is basically just on the champion. And I'm not talking about with souls or anything like that. So Shogun, 1.5. Iron Twins, surprisingly actually good for the accuracy requirements and stuff like that. So buffing your team with accuracy and decreasing the Iron Twins resistance and all that is really, really strong. It was a huge hurdle for people previously, but if you are early to mid to early late game, he could actually enable Iron Twins a lot with his increased accuracy and decreased resistance, because that was a big hurdle for people, especially trying to meet the speed requirements for different things as well. So I'd actually give him maybe a 3 in Iron Twins, surprisingly. I wouldn't have thought I would have done that. For waves and stuff like that, I don't really see any strong application here. Petrification is good, but the fact that it's a single target for 1 turn on a 3-turn cooldown just isn't enough for me. This is decent, but again, not enough for me, so it's not something he would be good for. I definitely think Arena is the strongest application. Could he work as part of a team for doing waves and stuff? Yeah, absolutely, but I mean, is he going to be your strongest go-to? Not unless you have a very bare bones account so far. 2. Amius, the Lunar Archon. Yeah, maybe not so bad. So with Amius, the increase in the duration of a random debuff on the target by 1 turn, you don't necessarily want that. You want your debuffs falling off at the right time. Petrification is going to be a no-go, so it's going to be decreased attack and decreased speed. Decreased speed isn't going to do anything, doesn't work. So decreased attack is the only debuff, and decreased resistance if it works. However, because this is passive and you can't control when it's going on, it could easily be turned into an increased resistance. Now, he does have a buff strip then, but you have to make sure that you're getting... It will always do remove block debuffs, which is really good, but coupled with the increased accuracy and the danger of getting that flipped over, plus with a decreased res turned into an increased res, he'd be a nightmare unless you were very, very proficient with Amius. So he has utility for somebody very experienced, and if he had a high level Brimstone, you could definitely use him, but increased res and decreased accuracy on your own team, he'd be a bit of a nightmare. So a very generous 2.5 has applications, but could easily have them turned against you. Clan Boss, decreased attack is the only thing he brings, to, like 1.5. Actually, the increase accuracy as well. Or no, sorry, the increase debuff duration. Yeah, so if you're early on, that could be good. So maybe bring it up to 2. And then unique skill, petrification, and passive increase res on a single target, 2. So total, we are not looking at a glorious score. That was the wrong way to do that. Sorry, there we go. 26 total. And if we look at HH, sorry, that's 26 total, so I have to divide that by 11. Oh, so this is okay. Yeah, divided by 11. $2.36 is the total, and on Hell Hades, if we look, they have him rated as a 3. Now, obviously, they have better knowledge than me. They have him rated higher, I think, in Dragon. I have him 2.5, they have him 3.5. They have him rated 3.5 in Ice Golem, which is the same as me. Oh, this is hard. So they've split out hard and normal. Okay, so yeah, actually Iron Twins, they have him rated a 4. I have him rated a 3. Doom Tower, I haven't rated. And Clan Boss, they have him rated 3.5. I can see that. They also do Doom Tower and Faction Wars, but we're not going to go into all of that. And I forgot about Spider as well, actually, so we have to put in Spider here too. And with Spider included, I would petrification, decrease buff, debuff duration, strip turn meter 2. What do they have them as? Yeah, between the two, 1.5 and 2.5. So 2, I think, is fair. So we can lower that to get everything back into the one page. Let's do this again. Oh, I had it updated already, but we have to go divided by 12 now. My voice went awful deep there for some reason. So 2.33, much the same as it was previously. Okay, so that's Skeletor. That's what we're measuring him against everybody else, basically. So now we can go in order down the table, and that will please some people, okay? So Ronda, let's have a look at Ronda. And this is going to be a long enough video, guys, which is why we're splitting it in 2. So when I'll do these 4, so that'll be 5 of the 11 done, and then the second part will be these guys, okay? So on to Ronda, who is a Banner Lord. Now, for those not familiar with Ronda's skills, we have attacks one enemy 3 times, places an extra hit if the target has less than 50% HP after the 3rd hit. So potential 4-hitter. The A2 attacks one enemy 3 times, will ignore shield buffs and 30% of the target's defense. Okay. Places a block passive skills debuff for 2 turns before attacking, and it cannot be resisted. Also places a block active skills debuff for 2 turns after attacking, and that also cannot be resisted. Okay, so I mean, that's something that Carnage has, who's a mythical, and you need accuracy for it, and it's in his non-damage form. Now he does have a debuff spread on that skill as well, but this is really, really huge in the fact that it requires no accuracy. Attacks all enemies 2 times. Damage increases by 30% if this champion has more than 50% HP. Immune to turn meter reduction effects when this skill is not on cooldown, and decreases all turn meter reduction effects used against this champion by 50% when this skill is on cooldown. Now, has a 15% chance to join an attack whenever an ally attacks an enemy. This champion will attack with their default skills. At the start of each round, places a shield on her for 2 turns, equal to 40% of her max HP. Okay, so what do we think of that? Now, so let's put it through the lens again of all of our dungeons. If we're talking about Fire Knight, she has a passive ally attack. She has multi-hits on all skills. The debuffs that she brings won't do anything, but just the sheer amount of skills, of multi-hit skills that she has, and the ally attack thing make her very, very good for, let's go back into her, I didn't mean to click out of that. It makes her very, very good for Fire Knight. Not so much maybe hard, where you need everybody to bring something more, but definitely very good overall. I'd probably have to go a 4. I'm going to keep glancing over here because that's just who I am, but I don't have Skeletor, or I don't have her ratings up here, so I'm not cheating. Okay, we will look it up as always after. So Ice Golem, no, not great. She's good for the waves and all that kind of thing. She's not able to, her block passives and block actives isn't able to be used. She's a pure damage dealer. So I would not rate her very highly here. Realistically, I'd probably rate her, she's a danger to your team, right? And she's not survivable. So I would probably rate her maybe a 2.5. Because direct damage is bad. Yeah, I think that's correct. Unless, remember, we're rating these in isolation. You can build a team for anybody to make it work. But I think just directly for that, taking in hard and normal, I think she's too much for IG and she'd work against you. Dragon, just for damage and damage to the dragon, yeah, I think very good, maybe 3.5. She's not going to do anything super special there. For Spider, with the ally attack and with the attack all enemies 2 times and damage increase, I think she could be very good, especially with the shield she's starting off with, and the chance to join attacks. I think that's good. Attacking with these as well, very good. And then the chance of an extra hit, all very good as a direct damage dealer. She's not going to be exceptional, so maybe a 3. Arena, with everything she brings, I think she's very underrated, especially being immune to turn meter reduction effects and all that. I think, I don't know about underrated, but I think underutilized maybe, and I think she should probably be a 4.5 to a 5, and is just maybe a little bit slept on, because I know a lot of people that swear by her, but I never see her used. Never see her used, but I think 5 is probably going to get me a bit of flack, but I think she's up there. I do. Sand Devil, all she's going to bring to that fight is damage, which will be decent, but she doesn't bring any debuffs to reduce his effect. She doesn't bring any sleep. She doesn't bring any buffs for anybody else. She does join in on the attacks. The multi-hitters could be good for breaking down his turn or his sleep meter, depending on what way you want to run it. I think she's a bit of a mixed bag there, so maybe a 3.5. Shogun, as long as she has a blessing, she's very, very good. I'd have to go with a 3.5 as well, because she's not bringing any debuff, she's not bringing anything else to it. Iron Twins is just direct damage and more damage and support, so maybe a 3. These could all be a 3, possibly, but I'm going to go 3.5 on both of them. No, I'm not. I've changed my mind. Going to go 3. Waves, I think she's extremely strong. I'm going to give a 4. Amius, she can be extremely strong for getting extra damage in. Definitely think she's a 4. Yeah, I think she's a 4. And Clan Boss, I think she's a 4 as well. And what's holding her back in both of these places is potentially just not having any debuffs, or she's not providing anything else other than damage in those cases and against a lot of bosses. Arena is where she really shines. In these set pieces though, she's very, very good. So for unique skills, unique, not necessarily unique, rare, or what's unique about them, I think the immunity to turn meter, the block passive and active skills being irresistible, all of that, I think she is a 4 there. So that's giving me, let's do this out. Actually, I'll do it. No, I won't, because it's just bloody easier to do this. And then, why is it not doing that? And then go divided by 12. So 3.58, and if we look at Hell Hades then, what are they telling us? By the way, this isn't me trying to cast any shade on Hell Hades or any of them. This is just like to give a more overall look at Skeletor via the lens of the other login champions and my opinion and the Hell Hades team opinion, which, by the way, spoiler alert, the Hell Hades opinion probably carries more weight than mine by a long shot. Doesn't mean they're always right, but like they have more experience. Simple as that. Where's the rating? 4 overall. Okay. So looking at the key areas, Fire Knight, she's rated 4.5. Ice Golem 3.5 and 2. Yeah, so 2.5 I think is fair. Dragon 3.5 and 2 as well. I have him 3.5 I think, because I think in hard she'll do just as well. Spider 2. Okay, Amius, yeah, she's rated highly. Doom Tower highly. Clan Boss highly. So I think we're pretty even across there, to be honest. Now, so looking at Wukong, everybody's favourite Monkey King, or everybody's most hated Monkey King, or both. You love him and hate him. You love him when he's on your team and he works well for you, and hate him when he's in the opposition and just absolutely shatters your dreams with a last second revive and Staff of Wonder. So he has an A1, attacks one enemy, and has a low chance, booking up to a 40% chance of placing a stun, and the chance increases to 50% if the target has any buffs. So it actually goes up to a 75% chance, and 80 I suppose with that mastery. So that is a good A1. A1 isn't what he's all about though. A2 then attacks one enemy and ignores 50% of the target's defense. Will attack all remaining enemies with any surplus damage if the target is killed. This attack will also ignore 50% of the target's defense. This attack cannot be critical. If the initial target survives, places a sheep debuff on them for 1 turn. This debuff cannot be blocked. Oh, so wait, I need to check this. Does that mean it's irresistible? No, it can't be blocked, so it means it can't be debuff blocked, but it can be resisted. You do need accuracy for this, or have I just been ignoring this for the entire time? Now, so his A3 attacks all enemies before attacking, steals all buffs from all enemies, and then places a block buffs debuff on them for 2 turns. Damage based on attack. So block buffs is really, really good, and it's just made me realize that I haven't included Hydra on there. And actually I don't think oh yeah, Hell Hades does. Revise this champion with 100% HP and 100% turn meter 3 turns after they were killed. So straight away, unique skill for Wukong is 5. Look, he has a sheep, he has an AoE kill and damage spread with ignore defense, he has a passive that just revives him continuously every 3 turns without fail. He's a 5 for unique skills. If you don't like it, write it in the comments. Let me know. I'm open to discussion. Healthy debate is a wonder. So for Fire Knight, for normal and for hard, not doing much for me at all. For the waves, grand, but no. 2. Yeah, 2. I'm happy with that. Ice Golem as well. No, overall, maybe 2. No, sticking with a 2. Dragon, he's literally just direct damage, can stop him can strip the increased attack off him, and also place the block buffs on the dragon as well. So I'd maybe go a bit higher there and put him at 3. For Spider, there's massive damage potential, especially on hard there, where you could kill all the spiderlings, thus killing the large spider that way. So I'd actually maybe bring that up to 3.5, but that's not where he's going to be. For Arena, we don't even need to talk about it. He is a 5, guys. He is a 5 out of 5 out of 5 all day. That is not a 5 out of 25. I just said that too many times. Sand Devil, or Sandy as I affectionately like to call him, he's not doing anything here. He's a 2. Shogun, again, not really doing anything here. He's a 2. Iron Twins, not really doing anything there either. Now, the revival mechanic, when you think about it, actually comes into play a bit for some of these. So that could be very good, especially with Sand Devil that tends to wipe out your entire team. If you have one tanky person to stay alive, he can be very, very good there. But I don't think so, because yeah, I think maybe, yeah, I think a 2.5 is probably best. I didn't put in the 5. Waves 4, I'm happy with that. Amius, I think 4 as well, and that's because of the debuff strip, and the direct damage and the revive mechanic. He's very good for Amius, but I'm kind of breaking my own rules. He is a fragile nuker, but I do think he's good for Amius. Potential for him to get one shot with when he's using the A1 on the alternate form, but that's the same for everyone. So yeah, clan boss, strip the buffs that the clan boss puts on himself is very good, and places kind of place block debuffs, and then just direct damage. So I think that will be grand, but I couldn't give him more than a 3 just for the damage that he applies. He scores really highly in some areas, really low in others. Again, guys, this is not the be-all and end-all of ratings. This is just my rating, and is more of a... Oh, divided by 21 is not correct. Divide by 12. So 3.17. I actually didn't expect that. So some of these ratings are letting them down a bit. But he has more peaks and troughs than some of the others, because he rates very highly where he rates highly. Hell Hades then, if we are looking at Mr. Kong. Mr. Sun, actually, wouldn't be. His name is Wukong and his surname would be Sun. Is that the correct? Would I be correct on that? I don't know. 4-star overall rating. Okay, so yeah, I get that. And if we had Hydra in there, it would probably rate a bit higher. But if I look at the actual ratings here, where is he coming up really high? Hydra at 5, Spider at... It's crazy, because on Spider, and I'll just show you here, Spider, he has him at 4 on normal and 2.5 on hard. I would have that reversed, completely reversed, because he would be way more effective on hard, killing the I keep on saying baby spiders, and it sounds like a genocide. But he'd be way more effective on hard spider than on normal spider, so I don't know why that is there. And that's okay, I'm allowed to disagree with Hell Hades, and the Hell Hades team are allowed to listen to me talking here and just shrug their shoulders and go, that guy's an idiot. As, by the way, are you. Not calling you an idiot, I'm saying you're allowed to call me an idiot, and that's fair. Tell me I'm an idiot in the comments. Like and subscribe as well for more idiotic content. The next champion we have coming up here is UDK. So UDK is our favourite Undead Hordes member. Again, another champion that everybody loves to hate, or loves and hates, depending on how you look at him. So free champion for everybody, as were all of these. Attacks one enemy, has a 30% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn. The chance increases to 55 against legendary champions, and that books up to a 75% against Legos. He's a defense-based champion, and the first on the list, I think, that's a defense-based champion. Then on the A2, AoE decrease attack for 2 turns, also has an 80% chance of placing a fear debuff for 1 turn on legendary champions. I actually always thought that was a guaranteed. So this is fun when you go back through the kits and you're like, oh. So that books to 100%, and that's on a 3-turn cooldown. The A3 places a shield buff and a 15% continuous heal buff on all allies for 2 turns, and the value of the shield bush, no, it's not a shield bush, although I have known some. The value of the shield buff is proportional to the champion's defense. That was a big deal at the time. There's a few more champions in the game that have that now. I think notably the most recent is Freya. But shield buff proportional to the champion's defense. Then the only other one that had it in the game was Valk, who was known for having some of the best shields in the game. So that, coupled with continuous heal on a 3-turn cooldown, is very, very good. Now we have 2 passives on UDK, and they are super great. Too Awesome to Die. Whenever an ally is attacked, this is the one that he's really known for, has a 100% chance of completely blocking 1 hit, decreasing the incoming damage to 0. This champion will receive that damage instead. It also redirects any debuffs from the hit to this champion. The chance of blocking a hit and redirecting the debuffs decreases to 50% if the attacker is a boss, and does not work if the attack on the ally was an AoE attack. So only works on single target hits, and only 100% again in waves or PvP. If it's a boss, it's only 50%. And then whenever an enemy is healed, it heals this champion by 20% of that heal. So if you couple that with the mastery that does something similar, he's healing for like 25 to 30% of the heal every time. Now, the second passive didn't need him, so it increases his HP, defense, and speed by 10% for each dead ally, which is extremely good. He can get up to a 50% boost in everything. Am I correct in that? I am, because Hydra exists. So if he's on Hydra, he can get up to a 50% boost in all of this for when every ally is dead. But at that stage, your game is kind of over, especially because it's Hydra. There's not going to be much you can do. Now, UDK for Fire Knight 2. Not going to be much good there at all. Definitely not. For Ice Golem, 3.5. So he can tank some hits. He's very tanky himself. He has decreased attack on an AoE. He has shields and he has continuous heal. And also, if your team is wiped out, he can keep going. He can control the ads with his provoke as well on the A1. So I think he's actually very, very good for Ice Golem. And there are situations in which he can solo the content. Possibly need decent level Brimstone and or Toxic Set, but definitely doable for him to do that, especially with the secondary passive going off, whereby he's going to get a 40% boost to HP, defense, and speed. So that is a different build to what we know UDK for now, which is slow and tanky in arena with as little speed as possible. You'd be building him much faster in for Ice Golem and stuff like that. Dragon, similar as well. Decrease attack is a big deal there. Again, healing and shields is very good. No cleanse, however, and no provoke to control it, or the provoke isn't going to do anything on the dragon. So a little bit lower. I'd maybe give him I think I'd give him a 3 here actually. Yeah, Spider. Again, AoE decrease attack is quite good. As a support, he's going to be very good. Stopping any of the damage from the spiderlings, he's going to be taking that. So you can actually have him in your arena build and put him on the spider team, and he's going to help another champion do all the work, but he'll keep them alive. He'll be exceptionally good there. Shield, continuous heal. The provoke isn't going to do anything, but the decreased attack is going to help everybody. So I'd actually maybe put him at 3.5, if not a 4 here. I think 3... I think 4. I think I could put him to 4. Is that realistic? Let me know, guys. Let me know. Arena, he's a 5, guys. Hate it or love it, he is a 5. especially like the 2-turn stone skill or even 9-piece stone skin build with revenge accessories or counterattack stuff there. He can be exceptionally good. Revenge or stone skin and frostbite, really good. High resistance, tanky, no speed. Yeah, and maybe put him with. Yeah, you can put him with low accuracy if you're only concerned about the sets doing their job, or polymorph if you have him at 6-star. So he has to be a 5 there. Sand Devil, no, guys, just 1.5. He provides decreased attack, and I think that's about it there. Shogun, 2.5, because I think he has some application, but it's inconsistent. So actually, because of that inconsistency, I'd maybe put it to a 2. You need consistency in boss fights, simple as that. Iron Twins, he can be surprisingly good as a fast support champion. Shields, continuous heal, of course that puts the turn meter for the boss up as well, but the decreased attack is very good. The boss does have some single target, then multi-target hits, so he has some use there as well. I'd maybe go to a 3 here for Iron Twins. For Waves, I'd give him a 4 as well. Amius, he can be quite good there as well. Decreased attack, shield, and continuous heal, plus his passives. I quite like him for that. And actually, I know we're not including blessings and all of that. We're giving an overall. But I mean, he was my main damage dealer on Amius in one rotation early on, because he had a 5-star Brimstone. So he can be quite good for Amius too. So I would say actually 3.5 for Amius there. For Clan Boss, decreased attack, shields, and healing. Very actually strong here. And I could maybe go up to a 4 for UDK. He's actually quite good, especially taking some of those stun targets as well. He can help you out with that. And because he's force affinity, for the Myth-Air team and stuff like that, quite good. So yeah, very, very good there. Unique skill, he has to be given a 5. 2 passives doing insane work. Yeah, he's amazing, and I don't think we can say it any other way. So let's total this up, and we get 40.5 divided by 12. This could be our high score so far, is it? 3.38. No, Ronda is still beating them. And then if we look at Hell Hades, let's see, do we get the same kind of rating? So overall for Hell Hades, we have a 4 as well. And where's our primary differences here? So Hydra is included as well. He has him rated as a 4 for Clan Boss, which I have. Amius 3.5, which I have. Iron Twins, he has him rated as a 3, which I have. Spider 4.5 and 3. Between the two, I have him rated as a 4. So yeah, that's evens out, that tallies out. Fire Knight, we're in lockstep. He has a 2.5 and a 1, so I think, yeah, we're about right. Dragon, he has him rated as a 5 and a 4. What did I rate him as? 3? Yeah, I can see him being rated higher, but I don't, yeah. I think he's higher on the normal dragon thing because he has some applications with very specific builds for a very, very long solo run. So yeah, I think 3 is fair. Ice Golem has him rated as 5 as well for the exact same reason. And Ice Golem Hard then 3.5. I think my rating at 3.5 is fair there. So yeah, we're actually pretty well matched there. he has them rated in more areas. Sand Devil and Shogun were evenly applied there as well. Iron Twins, so we're pretty actually even with the ratings. Now Loki is the last one, and I think Loki is the most similar to Skeletor as well. Now Loki is a barbarian. He is, where is he? There we go. That took a while. Sorry about that, guys. So Loki is a barbarian. He was our last, was he our very last login champion? I believe so, yeah. Because, yeah, Adeline was before him. So, attacks all enemies. Flames of Mischief has a 30% chance of increasing the duration of all enemy debuffs by 1 turn. Sounds familiar? Pretty much the same as Skeletor's. If this champion is under a Veil or Perfect Veil buff, the chance increases to 50%. So this is very similar to Skeletor's, except it's AoE. So already he's better than Skeletor on the A1. On the A2, so this is where it gets complicated. Select a target. If the target is an enemy, has a 75% chance of block active skills and block buffs for 2 turns. So it's a single target. If the champion using this skill, or so if you have a Veil or Perfect Veil, also does debuff spread effect, taking 2 random debuffs from the target and placing them on all enemies. And then if the target is an ally or himself, heals them by 50% of his max HP and places a Perfect Veil buff on them for 2 turns. If the champion is already on has a Veil or Perfect Veil, also applies a buff spread effect, taking a random buff from himself or them and placing it on all allies. Like if he spreads the Veil or Perfect Veil, it kind of undoes what Veil or Perfect Veil does. If everybody has it, everybody's veiled and everybody can be a target. The A3 then is Bandit Flash and has a 75 booking to 100 chance of stealing all buffs, not just one and one random, from a target enemy and 100% of their turn meter. So it is single target, but it's all buffs and 100% of the turn meter, where Skeletor's is AoE and it's 1 block debuffs and a random buff and 15% of their turn meter, unless they earn the Tellurian League, in which case it's 30% of the turn meter. These effects cannot be resisted if the champion is under a Veil or a Perfect Veil. Okay, so you don't need accuracy if he's under Veil or Perfect Veil, but you do need accuracy here and here. So, you know, if the target's turn meter was not stolen, fills the turn meter of all allies by 15% instead. So basically, if you have something like Dragon, it won't do the turn meter reduction, but it will boost your team instead, which is quite good. Or Clan Boss, you can, use that to your advantage as well. Also places a 50% increase attack on all allies for 2 turns, which is very good. That books to a 100% chance and is on a 4-turn cooldown. And finally, we have Misstep, which is his passive. Places a Perfect Veil buff on this champion for 2 turns at the start of each round. Also places a Perfect Veil buff on this champion for 1 turn whenever their HP drops below 50%. Has a 15% chance to evade an enemy's skill and all of its accompanying effects. If this champion is under a Veil or Perfect Veil buff, the chance to evade increases to 30%. Okay. And that evade was a new skill unique to him as well. Active effect: if this champion's HP is below 50%, when targeted by an enemy skill, has a 100% chance to evade that skill and all of its accompanying effects. This guaranteed evade then goes on cooldown. Okay, so he's the most recent of the champions and has quite a similar kit to Skeletor in some ways. Let's see how I would rate him in the different areas. We'll actually click back into him because we'll need to refer back to that. So, Fire Knight. Okay, so thinking of both, and you have to, I'd probably give him 3.5 because it's very good for Fire Knight normal, but not so much for hard. So it could be a 3 to a 3.5. We'll go 3.5. We'll be generous there. Ice Golem can be very good. Turn meter control. Veil reduces AoE damage. Block buffs. Debuff spread could be useful. Yeah, so that could be good. And debuff duration increase is good. And stealing buffs and turn meter control. Turn meter control can be used as well. And then the veils and all of that as well. And spreading those and healing. So he actually has a good bit of utility in Ice Golem. And taking the two of them into account, I'd probably go maybe a 4. Is that being too generous? Dragon. No, he's less useful here, although increasing duration of debuffs and Veil is good as well for the same reason in Ice Golem. Stealing buffs as well. You know, taking off his increased attack is quite good. The turn meter control isn't going to do anything. And the evade may keep him alive. So I'd maybe go with 3.5. Spider. Decreased turn meter is going to be huge. On normal, not so much on hard. Then when we get into the evading stuff and the veil stuff and all that kind of thing, that's not going to be as important. Increase in attack on everybody is going to be grand, but nothing special. Increase in debuff duration is good. So again, I think going to average out at a 3 for Spider. Yeah, I think that's fair enough on Spider. A 3 would be grand. Hard, he's significantly less useful. Arena, personally, I think 2.5. I know people have said he can do stuff. That's my opinion, though, and you're not bringing him in if you have other options. Simple as that. Sand Devil. He doesn't really bring anything for my money. 1.5. Shogun doesn't really bring anything for my money either. Iron Twins, maybe a 2. And Waves, debuff spread effects. I mean, it depends what you put random, but he himself, I don't think, is really bringing much for you. He does bring a good element of control and stuff like that. So, yeah, it could be better, but I think maybe a 3. Now, Amius. So, increase in duration of all enemy debuffs. The block buffs is dangerous. And increased attack on your own team is fine. Veil is quite good, actually, for Amius. Believe it or believe it not, it can keep you alive, but he only puts it on one person. So, yeah, it's not super great. But I would maybe put him as a 3 as well. Clan Boss, turn meter booster at 15%, but it's on a 4-turn cooldown, I think. Yeah, so it's a 4-turn cooldown with a 15% turn meter, with Veil and stealing buffs. These aren't going to do really anything. That might help you out a bit. And yeah, I don't think he's providing much on the Clan Boss at all, but increasing debuff duration for poison and HP burn uptime is quite good. So definitely I could give him a 3 happily enough. Possibly a 3.5 increase attack. Turn meter boot. No, it's too it's too high of a cooldown. 3 is loads. I might get flack here. I don't think the unique skill is much good. I don't see the real utility and usefulness in it. I've never had any problem against it. I've never had any benefit that I've noted from it. Just because something is unique doesn't mean it's good. I think the way it's implemented isn't good. So I think the most I could give here is 3. Is that fair? Should it be lower? I think it should be 2.5. And I probably get a bit of flack for that, but I definitely think that's more than fair. Now, so this is our last one for this, and we're going to split it into 2. So 33 divided by 12. 2.75. Do we have this? Is this done right as well? I just want to make sure. 2.33 divided by 12. Some B6 to M6. Yeah. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, and then Loki's rating, when we look on... I was about to type Hell Hades into Hell Hades. I would have broken the whole site. So we have Loki, and check him. Check him out. Check him out now. The Funk Soul Brother. Way off compared to me. Way off. I'm not saying they're way off. I'm saying we are not calibrated against one another. And there's my corporate speak coming in. They have him at 4. So Clan Boss, they have him rated lower than me. They have him at 2. Amius, they have him at 3. So we're aligned there. Waves, which is pretty much Doom Tower, 4.5. I give him a 3. Iron Twins, Sand Devils, Shogun, 3 and 2. So I have him... Oh, they have him much higher there. They have 3s in there and a 2 for Iron Twins. I have that reversed. Spider, they have him rated as a 4 on both. I have him at 3. I don't agree with 4. I think that's way too high. Fire Knight, obviously. Yeah, they have him a 4 and a 1. And I think actually that's probably a better representation. I think 3.5. Did I black out when I was doing Fire Knight? So for normal Fire Knight, no, 3.5 is way too high for Fire Knight overall. For the first one, he's really good. For the second one, he's no good. Yeah, that should be a 3 maybe. So that brings them down a bit as well. Yeah, okay, so that is our ratings so far. Looking at this, looking at where's that at? There we go. Looking at our filter. If we go top to bottom, like Skeletor is coming in bottom for both myself and Hell Hades, and that's only the first 4. So in next part we'll look at these guys, and we'll see how Skeletor gets on around the rest of them. Okay, guys, so we'll see you in part 2. This will be out today. Part 2 will be out on Wednesday. So see you then. All right. Cheers, guys. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.